Tonight, we look back at LSU versus Southern. We talk about some great work happening with our school system, but we'll begin with what I think is a really bad idea. Roll it, Kyle. So recently, I'm sure many of you have heard about this idea to move some juveniles to Angola temporarily because of some issues that have happened recently. And I invited attorney Ron Haley onto the show. Ron has been kind of at the center of this and standing in the way of it. Now, this started with some escapees who got out, caused some trouble, and people in that area said they wanted to change. They wanted these kids out of where they are. But Angola, in my opinion, is not the solution. So let's talk about where this started.
Well, Clay, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. This started on July 17th of this year when you had some juvenile escapees from the BCCY facility over in Jefferson Parish in Bridge City. They escaped. There was a carjacking or attempted carjacking by one of the juveniles, and there was a civilian, a citizen, that was shot. Terrible situation.
Yep.
Not to say that that person should not be brought to justice for what he did. However, that led to, I believe, a knee-jerk political reaction from the governor's office. July 19th, same year, 2 days after this happened, the governor announced that a select few of troubled youth offenders would be placed at Angola. They were going to rename it BCCY West Feliciana, but essentially they were moving these children and placing them at the old death row facility that was open. They set, I believe, a very unrealistic timetable for that to happen. The first things we heard was sometime at late August. That's when we became involved. Our client, it's going under the pseudonym Alex S., family contacted our offices, not saying my office, but the group of attorneys that have stood in the gaps with me in this fight. And they were scared that at any point in time it was imminent that this youth offender, and this is not the same youth offender that did the crime in Jefferson Parish. Yeah. This was another youth offender that was possibly on the list to go to Angola. We filed an emergency application for a temporary restraining order in the Middle District of Louisiana. That restraining order was denied, not because we didn't have the merits, but there was an agreement between the attorneys that the governor's office would not make a move until September the 15th. Thus, Judge Shelley Dix set essentially a trial on these merits the week of September 6th.
So why was Angola the option? Why not some other facility?
Listen, I don't know the answer to that. I know the answers that were given was that they felt was the most secure place to place these children. Again, it said they had a very difficult situation, that they had a facility that's being built or renovated at the Swanson site that's not going to be ready from April of 2023. But they needed a place to send these youth offenders, not even until then. It's supposed to be a 6-week program. But there's millions of dollars, millions of taxpayer dollars that are going to renovate this facility, that's going to send medical staff to this facility, to house social workers and teachers and things that these kids need, because under the law, they're entitled to still get their education and their youth services. But all for allegedly 6 weeks. And that's the issue that I have, that it just doesn't make sense to spend this type of money on a 6-week solution, which makes me believe, again, this has not come up in litigation, but this is just us talking, that there's a potential for this to be much more of a permanent situation, not necessarily limited to these 24 youths, but potentially for OJJ to cherry pick different youths and place there.
That's a terrible idea. Look, we're not making excuses, because in most of these cases, these kids end up in these juvenile detention centers because of something they did. So we're not saying that they're angels. However, who in the hell could think that putting youth at the state penitentiary is a good idea?
Here's I have a lot of issues with it. Here's the main thing, and I want to get messaging straight. This is not to say the youth offenders that were eligible to go to the Angola site should be freed from whatever they did.
No.
This is not saying that.
Nope.
But these youths are still adjudicated as youths. These are not youth offenders that have been adjudicated as adults and they're trying to prevent them from going to an adult facility. They're adjudicated as youth offenders.
Okay.
And that's important.
Yeah.
Because regardless of what they did, at the age of 21, they're coming back into society.
Right.
And so we need to be doing whatever we can to try to rehabilitate these children so that they do not actually really end up there down the line.
Because you send them over there, they're going to learn some stuff and bring it onto the streets. That's going to really be a problem. Look, I got to get out of here. Would you keep us posted on what's happening with this?
Absolutely.
Ron is he's really brilliant at what he does, and this is just... But let's talk about something positive. Our school superintendent is here. He'll be on the desk next to talk about what's happening at EBR. Back in just a moment. All right, so this kind of conversation will put me in a better mood. Segment one, my goodness, and this is only coffee in this cup, but I'm telling you, you need something stronger to have those kinds of discussions. Dr. Sito Narcisse with the East Baton Rouge Parish School System, our superintendent. What's going on at the school system now, man?
So we got a lot of great things going on. Yesterday we had what they call Match Day, which is something new that we brought up where we match interns, senior interns with companies such as Coca-Cola, Lemoyne. We had, mayor's office, different folks where kids are getting paid $15 an hour to do internship there and also getting class credit towards graduation.
Right.
Our goal in the next 3 years, we're piloting 145 kids this year, 1,000 will be next year, and then year 3 will be 2,500 kids.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we're super excited about that.
We are kind of deep into the year now, and in the last year, you're one for new initiatives all the time, and I love that one. Any other initiatives?
Yeah, super excited. As you know, we've done a lot of early college stuff right now in our communities. For all of our traditional schools, they'll be choosing 3 of the 5 pathways. As you know, we've remodeled the entire school system into 5 pathways: construction, manufacturing, transportation, logistics, medical, pre-med, liberal arts, business management, and also there's technology where schools will choose which pathways they want to be in. We'll bring in industries into those schools, and kids will start getting exposure early and doing internships and working with them around actual industry-based certifications. And also there's all our advanced courses, so we're excited about that. The other part we're working hard on is early childhood education across the school system. We want to expand more early childhood seats. We believe early childhood from 0 to 4 years old. So we're working on that expansion as we partner with multiple entities around that. And then also they continue our progress around reading and writing. Kids just took their basic assessment courses and those things. And so we have a lot of great things going on, and we're really super excited about that.
You know, you're doing something with the great organization 2911. In fact, Tremaine Sterling is going to be in our next segment. I want to talk about what you guys are doing. But first, around the country, there is this teacher shortage, and I know that we're not immune to it as well. I know you're working to recruit and get more people to come into what I consider to be a very honorable profession. Where is that now? Tell me about those efforts.
Yeah, we're about, we have about 3,200 teachers in our school system. We're about 6,000 employees in the EBR. We've been very aggressive around things such as Grow Your Own. We've done external partners to help with online learning for kids. We've also kind of worked with school leaders in their schools on how to help, get kids to rotate to teach, teachers to teach particular classes. But we still have some shortages that we're doing. We've also incentivized. We're giving teachers $7,500 bonus.
Hiring bonus?
Just once you come in,
do
that. And then also, we have different amounts for different groups. whether you're teaching special education or any core subjects, we're doing that. We're also providing opportunities to try to also increase, bus drivers and those things. And so, us, just like every other district, parish here in the state, is going through the same thing, and also the whole country. So the whole country.
Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing with 2911 and Tremaine Sterling, who's just a ball of energy. I can't wait to talk to him in the next segment. Tell me about this. What this whole thing is.
Well, when I came in, I always told folks, I may be the superintendent, but it takes a village to do this work.
Right.
And so, Tremaine, like many of our partners, whether it's faith-based or community partners, we've always believed that we have to do things together in order to have greater impact. And so one of the things that we have is the Day of Hope that he's doing, where we're getting all the seniors across the city, no matter what the school is. Right. Of course, parents will have to sign off for them to go, but part of them is to be able to talk about hope and choice and careers and opportunities, because we've reorganized EBR to talk about, to have kids do more things around careers, to be more practical in their work. And, we need programs like Day of Hope to be able to start helping kids to make better choices and understand where they need to go.
It's interesting. We look at the outcomes that we see on the streets of America as it relates to crime. You just heard the last segment with Ron Haley. But if you don't address what's happening between the ears as it relates to the kids, it doesn't really come to fruition in the classroom or even in the community. That's why I think something like this is important. Why is it so important to you as a superintendent?
Yeah, the reason it's important for me is because, I think, just like myself, I would say an example, I wouldn't be here if I didn't have opportunity and access, right? And I think that it's important that you work with partners across to create opportunity for kids, and then access should not be a barrier. This is one of the first times, we work with Baton Rouge Area Youth Network, where all the partners, we have 90 partners, have gotten together and said, we're going to collectively do something. This city has not been that coordinated like that. I always tell folks, Baton Rouge does not have a resource problem. Our challenge has been coordination, and what I've been excited about, I'm almost 2 years on the job, is that we're getting closer to coordination. Right. And as we continue to do that, and we kind of work together through that, no matter what community you live in, we can do much, much better than what we're doing today.
All right, look, you're a frequent guest here. You always got a spot anytime you want it. I'm going to talk with Tremaine about this thing that you guys are doing together, and I think next week one of your people is coming on here to talk about something you got going on next weekend. I think I'm going to start charging you rent. Dr. Sito Narcisse. We'll talk with Tremaine Sterling next. This young man is a force here in Louisiana, not just in Baton Rouge. He is the person behind 2911, a great organization that mentors, motivates, and exposes young people to so many different realities. You take them on trips to different places. You put people in front of them to broaden their horizons. It's on the ground work that needs to happen. And we're going to talk about 2911. But first, let's talk about the Day of Hope, your collaboration with Dr. Narcisse.
Yes, thank you so much for having me this morning, Mr. Clay. It's a pleasure to be here.
You got it.
So Tuesday, September 20th, we're bringing 2,000 students together all across East Baton Rouge Parish to come for a Day of Hope. Right. And Day of Hope is basically an opportunity for kids to receive hope, H-O-P-E. Something that came to me approximately a few years ago, HOP is an acronym, helping others push every day. And so I'm excited about that because the goal is to help kids keep going. Don't quit, don't give up. We're going to have colleges there, career fairs, workforce initiatives, and we want kids to take advantage of as many resources that's going to come at their fingertips. We're going to have even jobs to offer them jobs on the spot for those that are 18 and older. So we're pumped, we're excited.
See? I told you. All right, let's talk about 2911. Why you started this organization? What was the genesis behind it?
Great question. So I started 2911s because I realized growing up, there was a man in my life by the name of Bishop Wallace.
Charles E. Wallace, yes.
Who was my
He's
mentor.
Been here.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
He was my mentor. And so him coming in my life made a huge impact in my life, who helped me spiritually, academically, emotionally, and the list goes on. And I realized if every kid have someone that have a Bishop Wallace in their life will become better. And so just overcoming that. And so 2911 comes from Jeremiah 29:11. And so, you know, all these places have different slogans, and 2911 is about helping purpose and potential collide. If every kid has potential, but the question is, can their potential and their purpose collide? And that's where mentor come in to help aid and assist.
You know, I think there are young people who end up in bad situations because they don't feel like they have any other option.
Yeah.
And they're not exposed to other options, so they do what they see, right? And this is why these investments are important, because if you can get a young person to discover their true destiny, what they're meant to do, you might be able to keep them from being involved in negative activity. Do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with that. I realize exposure does cause expansion, right? And so my mom couldn't afford the trips growing up. My dad was nowhere present. And so I had brothers dealing with drugs and alcohol and all those deals. But I had a mentor in my life, someone that came in my life to realize, say, hey, there's more to the world than 225. When I realized there was more to the world than 225, now I'm on this serious mission to make sure that we take kids not just to Southern LSU, but to Howard, but to Morehouse, and take them around this country. We went on a collegiate tour approximately 2 years ago, right before the pandemic, and took them to 17 states in 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You know, and one of the things that we try to accomplish here is, like, I want people to meet folks like you, and I say this all the time because it takes money too to fund this mission.
Without a doubt.
If somebody wants to write you a check, you know, where do they send you a check?
They send us a check. They can go to our website, 2911mentor.com, and make sure that they first check out what we're doing and who we are. And so we're now servicing over 2,000. Think about this. When you first met me, we were servicing 11 kids. Now we're servicing over 2,000 families.
If someone watching has a son, daughter, granddaughter, grandson, niece, nephew, and they're thinking this might be something I want to expose this child to, I got about 30 seconds. Why should they do it?
Hey, because I realize you need more than one voice in their ear that's on the positive side. Many things my parents told me I didn't listen to, but it took somebody from the outside that had the same message, maybe just a different approach.
I want you to come back and bring some kids with you at some point, and you're always welcome here too. This is just the first time you can get here.
Thank you so much.
2911, up next, Gordy Rush is here. Not the best day. Want to know why?
Ratings going up. Good to be here. Thanks for having me. Hey, Gordy Rush.
So, you know, right now, I'm not too happy with Matt Moscona because, you know, I wanted to get him here.
Right.
Anyway.
He's not helping your ratings.
No, it's
You need to make this weekly. Let me know. We can talk.
Oh, boy. So let's start by talking about last weekend.
Yes.
I didn't say this before last weekend. I didn't say this to you before we came on to the show. I loved the idea of last weekend.
Yes.
I think both institutions showed tremendous class.
Yes.
So did the SEC network. Here is why I had a problem with it.
Okay.
The outcome on the field.
Right.
And I worry about the confidence of some young men who, admittedly so, beat a school that has had a football team maybe 3 years,
Right.
but getting trounced. That was the only negative I felt about last week.
So, if from my standpoint, I think the pluses greatly outweigh the minuses,
Okay.
and I understand that. And that if you play, let's say Furman, I think that's a good example. 1AA that traditionally does better in the playoffs and what have you. And the outcome of that game is 49-7. Okay, is it that big of a plus if you're LSU? And that,
Right.
The good thing is a lot of people got a chance to play, and if you play this game early, a lot of people that wouldn't play against Furman, with the new rule, freshmen can play in 3 games.
Okay.
Right, and so they were able to get Emory Jones as a freshman tackle from Catholic High. He got to play almost the second half and probably will contribute now as the season goes on. So I think that trade-off in exchange for a sold-out Tiger Stadium and in a great environment, and me being in the business, I know how much the guaranteed pay game means to a university like Southern for that athletic department, whether it's LSU or Georgia. You know, the job of that AD, truthfully, one of the top 3 things is to find one of those games each year.
Oh,
That funds the athletic department. Huge win. I'm willing to take that game, even though the score, it's going to be more of a mismatch than LSU Furman.
Well, because you're talking about the interior lineman, not to get into the weeds about it, there's just such a big difference there in talent. I wish the amount of money could have been more too, as a matter of fact. I mean, a lot of people say, why not at least $1 million if you're doing it, because it's a crosstown university. I mean, the thing here, the people, the tailgating, all that was amazing. The only negative I had from the weekend really was the person who spray painted the statues. I don't think anybody from Southern would do that. Quite frankly, I don't think anybody from LSU did it. It's just another example of people who just want to divide folks for the sake thereof.
That's right. And that's the 2% out there, right? I mean, you got a percentage of fans everywhere that unfortunately do that. I'm with you. I think that that's somebody, for whatever reason, that's off their rocker, wanted to make a statement.
So this weekend, all right, talk about the NFL a little bit here.
Yeah.
As you know, my team did not win. The 49ers did not win.
I did. I did.
But the Saints go into Atlanta. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to raise a banner that says, "We Dat," if you're going to have members of your fan base second line through the stadium, umbrellas like Bourbon Street, you might want to win that game.
Ooh, it would have been an ugly loss had the Saints lost. But that being said, looking throughout the NFL, your Niners included, there was a lot of ugly football out there.
Well, we played in a monsoon, man.
Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, in Chicago, practices in a monsoon. I mean, this is one of the worst teams in the NFC that your Niners lost to. They projected to win 4 games, right?
Listen.
But the Bills look good. My teams look good that I picked. But let me finish with
the Rams.
this. I think the 3 preseason games, one of the effects of that and the unwillingness of people to want their people to play in 3 preseason games.
Yeah.
You saw a lot of rusty, sloppy football. I mean, look at the field goal operations. I mean, there were 10 missed field goals, extra points. It'll get better. It wasn't a great brand of football. That's my only part.
I always say you can't really tell anything from week 1. That in the NFL, until week 5, you don't know what's what, because half the teams are going to win, half the teams are going to lose the first week. You don't know what's happening. The Saints showed resilience.
Yes.
But the Falcons, man. And see, this is why I don't talk a bunch of trash, because you go out and they spent money to troll the Saints, and then you just choked it up.
No, it's a rivalry game. And look, I mean, the Falcons, they're in a rebuilding, reloading, and all that, new quarterback in Mariota. Saints got off to a really, really poor start offensively.
Yeah.
I think the Saints will be fine. I don't know that they go deep in the playoffs, but it's a transition of sorts. But they're good on defense. This is why you go sign Jarvis Landry and Tyrann Mathieu, because you brought some high character guys on that field, leaders that are going to make things happen.
Got 30 seconds. I'll give you a chance to walk back this 4-13 thing you said about my 49ers. That is not cool. You know we're going to win more than 4 games.
You're right. 5-12 49ers. Jimmy G is going to be starting by week 4. Back to you, Clay. 5 wins. 5-12.
Next week, we're going to talk about gun safety. I don't know why guns come to mind right now, but we'll be talking about it next week. Y'all have a great weekend.